Going live.
Going live.
Beresford says,
Hey,
greetings from the UK just beat us too. I was saying let's go live, and then I forgot I had to go grab some Tums because it's been a stressful summer.
No kidding.
How's it going, Beresford? We have, according to this, 0 viewers. That's okay. Let them pile in. You guys can pile in. Yeah, I'm waiting for the summer to be over. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, you've been giving her all summer, eh?
I don't even have a clean house. I've been home for almost 5 days. 4 days. I can't remember what day I came home on. It culminated with my kids training for the Peru Pan Am Games, and it culminated with me having to wake up at 2:15 in the morning and getting my kid to Toronto's Pearson International Airport for 3:00 so they could catch a 6 a.m. flight. And then I drove back to Ottawa and started work. This is literally been my whole summer, is like finish this one thing and on to the next thing. There's been no like, all right, I'm just going to take 24 hours. Last night I played a couple hours of Starfield.
Nice.
The Bethesda game. And I have actually a streaming piece of gear that I'm under an NDA for it right now, but I think I might break out a game stream just to like try it out. So stay tuned to the channel. If you see me game streaming, you can drop by and chat. I won't be able to share much or anything about what I'll be testing out, but there is a product that I've got a video coming out Wednesday. So we'll see how that goes. God awful AM flights. Nope. Yeah, I didn't get to choose the AM flight for this. This was all booked by their coaches. By the way, to finish off the summer and the story of what my summer was, maybe y'all can tell me, because I think it was worth it. I think all of the shit I went through was actually worth it when it came down to it. My kid won silver in Peru.
Yay.
That's actually really, like, on an international
that's
stage,
really cool.
At the Pan Am Games, my kid won a silver medal.
Nice.
I was absolutely blown away by that. So do you think that's worth it? Do you think that's worth the summer you go through as a non-parent? What do you think, Dylan? Yeah.
I mean, that's like you raised that.
Yeah, but that's cool, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I was talking with my wife about that. My wife that I've only seen 8 days out of the whole summer. We're chatting on Messenger about, like, we raised this. We actually turned this child into somebody that competed for a medal at the Pan Am Games in Peru. That's cool. Anyways, my wife's on her way back from Peru right now. I'm a non-parent, only cats. Oh, that's worth it. Yeah, man. Are you proud of your cats? You can be proud of your cats. That's definitely a conversation we had. We only have 5 people in. I'm noticing something over the past year, Dylan.
What?
This channel has very much kind of plateaued, and I know there's been a lot of other creators that have talked about this, where they go through these ebbs and flows, but then all of a sudden there seems to be like an ebb that lasts a long time, and this whole year has been very ebb. And I would have to say, and this is one of the things I'm kind of gaining momentum for the end of the year when I do like a year-end review. This has been a really shitty year for audio gear.
Yeah.
Like, when you look at the releases, really hasn't been much, man. Nothing that actually blows me away or anything that I'm uber excited. Like, I was excited for a few things. The Interview Pro, the Rode Interview Pro was actually like really cool. You've actually used that a few times yourself.
Several. Yep.
And that's something that even you're like, this is part of your mic.
Yeah, that was a good release. That was, in fact, I might even say that, I mean, for the things that we all know about for the moment, winka winka. That's one of the highlights for me, I think, of any product as far as just usefulness that I can see in a number of areas. I mean, an interviewing microphone that looks like a karaoke toy, but actually, that's when I sent it out to some of my coworkers just to be like, and our news team might start using them.
Oh wow,
Yeah, because I pushed it through and they're like, yeah, this is good. Maybe not for the client recording aspect of it because it's too simplistic, but for the reporter on the go. I mean, I just had recorded a thing. I was on my I had to record something at my parents' place, and so I was on like the lying face down on the bed, and I had like a V with pillows done up, and untreated room, like vinyl flooring, drywall, ceiling, a little stipple, so that helps. But and I was just lying on the bed, not getting great diaphragmatic breathing for obvious reasons, but still, I recorded a voiceover for an advertising campaign with the Interview Pro, sent it off. The only thing I did to it was edit out the fucks.
You're supposed to edit those out, though. That's kind of one of those things.
Yeah, edit out the fucks and the goddams, and then change it to a 16-bit file. Bring it up to a reasonable level and change it to a 16-bit file. Only because I know some people working in like old versions of Adobe, because I don't know where this is going. I ain't gonna be able to open a 32-bit file. In fact, last time I sent something that was recorded through a Rode. Actually, it was through my Rodecaster. There's like a little blip in the audio, and it crashed my buddy's computer. It crashed Buddy in Winnipeg's computer when he went to try. He played it, and as soon as it hit that point, it just dead.
Just everything dies.
Yep.
Steve says that's cool. Sounds worth it. It was definitely worth it. I didn't even get to go to Peru. I watched it online. It was very cool. SR375. Interesting point. Still think the Lewitt Connect 2 as a fail, as they really need more resolution at the position of finger and levels, e.g. more bits equals less obvious steps and adjustment. Yeah, and you know what? Like, this is one of the things, when I put the original video out this is one of the things I kind of was excited for, and then I was kind of like, eh. I prefer the Connect 6. I love the Connect 6. It has the same thing. Like, I'm adjusting my gain right now, and it's stepped gain. It's
I was going to say, that was a very aggressive jump.
It's digitally controlled gain. And those clicks, you don't hear them. Like, you don't hear them. And they got the Connect 2 about to the point where you're not hearing the clicks as much, but you can still, like, I gained up 15 dB so you could hear them. It's fine, sure, but I like to ride my gain for certain situations, so I can't use it for situations like that. And I don't mind digital gain control when it's done properly. Like, this one has it, and you can hear each time I'm hitting a little thunk, because digital gain control allows you to have consistent gain all the time. So if I set my gain to one spot, one point on the gain dial, it will be like that every time I go hook up and redo it. So no fucking around. But when you have those steps and adjustment being too large, you end up with that artifacting.
Yeah, too low resolution. It's the the address or the addressing bits used to determine what step in the gain that you're at for that. And I mean, to me, you know what? I don't mind it, because I mean, my analog counterpart to that, is a Neve, which is stepped anyway. So
yeah.
Now with that though, like, because my one issue with the digital gain controls is, the granularity you can't get always, especially if you're in a really sensitive situation where you're like, I need just a little bit less than that.
Touch,
just a little touch less. In the case of the Neve, you have a trim knob that's job is to do exactly that, is to allow you to kind of fine tune that. But as far as like, are you going to ride it? No, you're not going to ride it. like 20 decibel jumps per knob twist, like very large steps.
Let's go over the last year things. So that was one, the Lewitt Connect 2, disappointing. I had the Lewitt Ray, which was actually kind of fun, but also kind of novelty-esque, where it kind of like it had makeup gain for where you were. This got another, trying to get over to my comments here. I'll get to that in a second. SR375. The Lewitt Ray was kind of novelty-esque, so it was cool, but it didn't like light me afire. The Deity S Mic 3 was cool. It's a shotgun mic, sure. The new Shure Nexodyne was cool. I really enjoyed that. However, it didn't light a fire under me. It wasn't like if I had the choice right now, and like, yes, I love the mic, and if I was doing live sound, I would be using it. But if I need a mic, I'll go buy a Beta 58 right now. So, I mean, nothing really like blowing me away. And yeah, I'm looking at all the rest. Yeah, the Rode Interview Pro was good. Going to NAB or NAB was awesome. That was a high point. That's where the channel was really having a good time with it. Did the Shure SM7DB come out this year? I don't think so. I think
No, I think that was last year. I don't know. This last couple of years kind of blends together to a degree.
Yeah, there's okay, yeah, you had all the you had the Zoom Essential series come out this year. Ouch, Jesus. And that one's still one of my best performers on this channel still now. Like it's still Big Mad too. Lots of Big Mad with that. Oh, the Mackie Mainstream. Okay, yeah, the Mainstream came out. That was the Mackie announcement was on January. So it's been since the beginning of the year since I was last like super excited. I would give the Rode Interview Pro up there as well. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm feeling this year. Maybe that's part of the reason this year kind of sucks for views and all that. It's just everybody's kind of not doing. I was thinking about going to NAB in New York this October, just to see if I can, find something. See if there's something coming. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, and I think too, right, is you're in an election year.
Yeah.
I think whenever, especially right now, as we approach it steadily, there's always such a high amount of traffic over there that people aren't really paying attention to like the economy, as much.
The economy generally tends to stand still before this kind of stuff too, right? Or
yeah.
So
yeah, because nobody really knows what to brace for in terms of like business. Like, how is business going to be impacted? It's like, well, we don't know. We're not going to make any long-term decisions yet,
Yeah. SR375. I really hope Rode brings remote gain control to the Rodecaster. I don't think because there's no motorization to the sliders, the things, because Friday my brain is shot.
No, but that said, the faders are virtually, they're encoders. They're virtually controlling something. So and we know that because you can assign anything to the fader.
Yeah, they're virtual.
You can assign Bluetooth to the faders, which obviously there's no analog. It's a completely digital signal path in the case of Bluetooth.
Well, and this is what he says: make it a rack version with complete remote control MIDI.
Yeah, like a new unit. But theoretically, even with the version now, you could make. And I mean, to a degree, there is like via the Rode Central app, there is a lot of remote control already. And the only thing that kind of irks me is that when you install Rode Central on your phone, you have to physically connect the Rodecaster. You can't control it over Bluetooth. That is something that I wish at some point.
And there's a lot of like little like really niche uses, but there are also like, if you're a producer for a show, like you're producing a podcast live, something like that would be really cool, right? Like,
or even if you're a show and maybe you only have an editor, you don't actually have a producer, and so you are the producer, and so you're out on the panel, but you need a way to monitor. You're like having the ability to just pull up on my iPhone the Rode Central app, and you can do that, except for the fact you have to get like a cable to connect your phone because it doesn't do it over Bluetooth. You have to connect it to USB.
Or Ethernet.
I don't know if the internal sort of digital schematic of that thing exists. It must in a way that allows for some data communication over Bluetooth and not just audio. Because that would be a really cool advancement. Because then you could totally use this with the Rode Central app and control it from anywhere in the room.
I'm gonna make a call, and I don't know anything about this. By the way, I should just say hi, Nuno Cosmos says
hello.
Hi. Matt, did you hear about the new SM4 by Shure? Yes, I did. I want one. There's a ton of things, but nothing really like pressing.
Nothing groundbreaking.
I would say so. My bet, and this is just kind of not even like a background knowledge or like insider knowledge, because I don't have any, but I think the purchase of Mackie may have made the roadmap for Rode.
Nice.
I I think it might have changed a few things. And I don't, again, like, no, I have no knowledge of stuff, because I did notice SR375 says have not heard much about the Chungus either. And that's an interesting perspective, because like Rode had no input on the Mackie lineup that was released, including the Chungus, including the DLZ Creator XS, the DLZ Mainstream, any of those. Like, they had no input on that, even though the latter were released on their watch, right? Rode was already in control of the company when that stuff started coming out, but the development of that stuff started like way before. Like, it wasn't like Rode took over and said, make a smaller version, and they had it out.
And whenever, your video just went off there.
Yeah, I that was weird.
That was weird.
All right, 1 second here.
Turned into a white person circle.
Yeah, I see that. That is, okay, let's see if I can do this without camera. I was trying to do it through FaceTime, that's why. Why did it all of a sudden do that? Oh, it's just not even letting me.
It's a great makeover. Loving the new look.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
Did my camera unplug? So I bumped my table. Oh, this is pain. Doesn't want to do it. Sony camera. All right. Entertain.
Entertaining. All right. We're entertaining. Aiden. Technical difficulty. Wow.
Yeah, technical difficulties, man.
Yeah, I'm having that in the brain, apparently. Aiden's working on his camera. You're stuck with my terrible camera. Actually, at some point in the not too distant future, I want to get a better one of these. It's not a bad camera. It's just the angle's weird. I don't know. Not a big fan of the angle. In this room, it works because there's not a ton of options for camera placement. I'd really have to do some rethinking, and this is a majority audio room. But it's it's ironic that I'm the one with the shitty detached camera, and I'm not the one having camera issues.
Have you started any ideas of okay, I'm gonna try leaving the lobby.
Okay, now we're just with me. All right, where did we leave off in the comments? Hello. Fellow British people. Of course, I can't click these because Aiden's still the host. Warning from Rode, you might lose the NDA breach. Yeah, no, that there's been, as Aiden was saying, there hasn't been a lot of stuff this year that's even impressed me. Like, I've been looking at interfaces, other front ends, because and he's back.
I'm back.
No, I was just saying that I've been looking at some interfaces, front ends, and I've been following some of the stuff that's been released this year in terms of like, kind of prosumer, new protocols of interfaces, and I haven't been impressed. I haven't really been impressed by a lot of the stuff. If it's not, the latency that's through the roof, it's a bunch of DSP that I don't need. If it's a bunch of DSP that I don't need, it's not the IO that I need. It's always something. To the point where I'm just, I just did we were talking latency earlier, and Aiden, and earlier and I. We were talking latency and how there's some things that are measuring like 1,000 millisecond latency or 1,000 sample latency. A lot different than 1,000 millisecond.
1,000 millisecond latency would be horrendous.
Yeah, and then I'm here with my PCI card that hasn't had a driver update since 2007, and I'm getting less than 1 millisecond. And so you know what? I'm just gonna stick with what works.
I love this. Andrew C. Warning from Rode. You might be losing your
the NDA
breach. No, I haven't breached any NDAs.
No, we're pretty careful about that.
Yeah. Tap dance, Dylan. You have the floor. I like that one actually. My wife is messaging me because she just landed in Canada, by the way. So
nice.
You might hear some pings. Action Podcast, how's it going? And Richard Mitchell, I'm a little tired of chasing these mics these days. Picked up a classic RA20 and couldn't be happier. Yeah, you know what? And that's, I mean, if this channel could just turn into like reviewing older mics and that's it. But there's a little bit, I'm missing the excitement this year of like that new, like the the new gear search, the new like, oh, like even last year we had a brand new SM7B for fuck's sakes. And yeah, I don't know. This year's just been like you're talking latency, and I've gotten used to the latency from a lot of stuff because as we progress with interfaces over the past couple years, one is we've kind of divided interfaces into use case. Like we have podcasting interfaces that don't have the best latency because they're just meant for voice. You're literally just there to, and they have onboard DSP, which slows it down even more. And there's little things like that, and that's the trade-off you make for that. And you're seeing these things come out with a bunch of usability rather than latency free, and that's fine. There is a point where you cross a line though, and it's like, okay, well now it's just not usable. And then the other side of the coin is you have music stuff. You have stuff that's meant for professional recording. And we were talking right before this, this Scarlett Solo is $159 US, and you get everything. It's like there's nothing wrong with that. And my computer just died again.
Again, and his camera's gone. Nice.
I think my camera, and I'm starting to think here that the problem is actually my camera is overheating.
Oh yeah, I thought it wasn't supposed to do that because that's why I told you most cameras. Oh, and he's gone again. But no,
I'm right here. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So I'm gonna just leave and then reboot this and come back in. I'll be right back.
Cool. All right, taking the floor again. No, but there hasn't been a lot inspiring. I think there's a lot, like from what I've been seeing in the forums and such, people are going back to the old classics, the RE20s, even the SM7. People are like, hey, you know what? It's got a rough sound. I don't know how to use it, but you know, at least I kind of know what I'm getting. The SM7DB, I didn't mind the idea of. I don't need one. But you know, as an idea of staying the hell away from a cloud lifter or like a activator and mic separate kind of setup. You know, I like it as an option for, I know, people trying to get started with that kind of stuff. What are we going here? Oh, and he's back again.
Yeah, open the LCD screen. See, I haven't turned the camera off this time. I haven't done anything, and it boots right back up. I think I've got a bad connection somewhere. That where I'm bumping the desk and it's causing something. I don't know. Yeah, I don't. The camera's not hot to the touch, so should have gone Nikon. Using a GoPro. No, although I'm picking up one of the new Ace Pros from Insta360. You review professional boom stand. Is there something for squeaky studio chairs and other studio sundries that's not audio tech? This is interesting. Yes, like whether or not people are going to watch it. And that's where like this channel kind of has that frustrating corner of like, okay, let's do a boom stand. I do a video on the Yellowtech Mika and nobody watches it, and it's like, okay, I've got a video coming out for the Elgato low profile. Are people going to watch it? I think because Elgato's more of it's less niche, maybe. I'm afraid to see what happens when I review a chair. Like I can only imagine the pushback for me reviewing like studio chairs would probably not go great. Like I even bring out a guitar and people are like, what are you doing? So I mean, I've been having a lot of trouble with StreamYard recently to the point where I want to stop using it and find an alternative. Really? Wow. Action Podcast, what are the problems? Because I paid a lot of money to use this for the year. So maybe you are getting close to a sure NDA breach. Instead, don't say SM5. If you're buying new gear, you should not need any sort of cloud lifter. Any modern interface should be sufficient. If not, rethink your choices. Holy crap, yes. Like,
yeah, that's true.
Cloud lifters still have a use in professional audio, just not in like the prosumer audio. Like, there's no reason for crying out loud to have under 61 dB of gain anymore. There's
a lot of products that do. I think it's gone away. I mean, I think originally, like looking at like the first generation Scarlett, which probably had like 45 dB of gain. Because at that point, the people using these interfaces were musicians. and musicians use condenser mics. It's not a blanket statement. There's lots of exceptions, but as a general rule, singers, if you're a singer, if you're a wannabe kind of vocal producer, singer person, you're probably getting a condenser mic. And so that need kind of dominated the market. It's like, well, okay, we're using LDCs here. We don't have a need for anything more than like 45 dB. Again, great, awesome.
That just literally removed me from the freaking room. What the hell?
Nice. But now you have the podcasters dominating the space, right? You've got a lot of people getting dynamic mics to do, $1 million content for YouTube. And so, there's a need for, I think, more versatility. In the past, it was assumed that if you needed that versatility, you're probably a professional. But nowadays, there's lots of people that are professionals that don't want 85 boxes to do this one thing that they have to do, right?
Yeah.
So I think, I think interfaces have gotten better.
Richard Mitchell, I think there's also some solid USB mics that do just do a thing for many. I've stopped recommending XLR unless they have bigger or longer term goals. I don't recommend any more XLR mic or USB mics. I will recommend USB XLRs. I think that is the only way to go from here on out for USB mics. I think any company releasing a USB only microphone are kind of missing the boat. Because expandability is on everyone's mind. It's literally on everyone's mind. And I think that by not having an XLR on your microphone is just, you're limiting so much, even from like longer term goals or anything, but also like resellability, usability in different setups, going over to your buddy's house to record on his podcast. You bring your mic with you. There's a whole bunch of reasons you want that versatility of the XLR, not just like bigger or longer term goals. And I also haven't seen a USB only mic since the Sennheiser one that was okay. It sounded great, but it also did nothing other than sound good, which is fine. But there's so many other companies like blowing Sennheiser out of the water for usability with their USB XLR mics. Cloudlifters and others are problem solvers. Best not to have the problem in the first place. Yes. Amazing. Podcasters rise up. Bandrew's in the house. Which ones? I can't even see. Bandrew. There he goes. How's it going, Bandrew? Welcome. I would actually love to hear from Bandrew. Is there anything from this year as a content creator, as a reviewer for products? Is there anything that's got you fired up? I want to know. Because I've been looking at the numbers from this channel over the past, and I don't care, right? Like, I'm not bound to, oh my God, I've got to go back to my day job if I don't get a certain level of numbers. I don't care. I've got other ways I make money. But growth is always fun, right? But I've noticed like this has really been like a pancake year. There has been no growth month over month. And I think it has to do with the gear. Because you and I are both doing the same thing, right? We're releasing products or releasing videos on products that are supposed to get people fired up. So I look forward to your response. Dimebag, I did gift down my first blue snowball to somebody else, giving another guy a chance to get started. Yeah, and you know what? There is a lot of that stuff, but we're also moving out of an era where the blue snowball, which was, I think, $100 or more than $100 when it was released, is almost laughable now. If you just want to give somebody a start, you can do that for $50 now. It's not going to be a great start. You'll get a start. Don't degrade the Rode NT USB only mic or your camera will shut down again. Even then, like Rode has even moved away from those USB only mics with the pod mic USB. I purchased a Sennheiser, sir, but I wanted to be rock solid USB travel simple mic. Yeah, there's still a spot in the industry for it. I just think that everyone's already moving much faster away from it. Could you not eat the stuff off the floor, you weird dog? Come on, lay down. Or just stand there and look at me. Good dog. StreamYard keeps saying connection is unstable and is really not had checked by my internet provider. My laptop is new and pretty powerful. Even the engine. By the way, I ordered the Lewitt Connect 2. Ooh, Action Podcast. I'll be curious to see what you think about the Lewitt Connect 2. I need the Rodecaster Pro Duo, but just a bit cheaper. You know what? There are other options for the Rodecaster Pro Duo or the Rodecaster Duo that are cheaper. You're just not going to get the Rode ecosystem or kind of the build out. Oh, we got an Sep Android. Okay, so Bandrew got back to me. I don't think it's the lack of interest in gear. I think it's people having good enough gear and not giving a hoot about every new mic interface. How dare they? Yeah, I can kind of see it, but there's also this core of people that are like, you know, it's like the iPhone year over year, where people say, "Oh, I don't care, man. My iPhone's great." But as soon as the new one's released, people are kind of clamoring to get it. And I think it's kind of the same thing. I kind of agree, but I also kind of think that there's always going to be that room for exciting gear to come out and to kind of capture the attention. I think we got spoiled from 2020 to 2023. I think that was really the big push and that over the hump. That was the push to create prosumer gear that didn't need cloud lifters, that had quiet or noiseless gain, or at least close to noiseless gain. We started getting DSP, which was, you couldn't get that on anything other than an Apollo. Like
DSP is definitely in the last couple of years has really proliferated.
But I mean, they tried with 32-bit, which wasn't quite as, like, it's not as mind blowing. But damn, man, like there've been a lot of leaps, and I think we're running out of leaps to make. I think that might be part of it. Anyways, even engineer found no issues with the internet or my gear. Yeah, StreamYard's having problems. It hasn't kicked me out recently, so I can get interfaces and stuff from Long and McQuaid, and they take it back without quibble if I don't like it. Yeah, I've been getting into the habit. I bought this thing online. This is the Stream Deck Plus with the XLR Wave XLR kind of plugs into it. I've never been so disappointed in a unit in my life. More on that coming. Dylan and I still have a ton of work to do on that. But yeah, that thing was
and he's gone again. Yeah, no, and that's what started our conversation about, without getting too much into it, about round trip, like latency and lag on stuff, because it does become noticeable after a while. Oh, he's back.
It is so freaking annoying. I think we're gonna have to go back to whatchamacallit,
Discord.
Discord, I think. Bandrew, phones and mics are different. Think about how many people use phones and how often they use them. Then they think about how many people use mics. It's just a much smaller pool.
I think too, like Moore's law, to like what Bandrew said the first time, is Moore's law slowing down. The idea that what is it, computer power doubles every 4 years or every 8 years.
Yep.
That's slowing down because we're kind of reaching the physical dimension, the physical limitations on conventional computing. And so I think they're trying to kind of reinvent the wheel, maybe make a better driver, make a snazzier looking app. Right. But a lot of the bare bones is not changing much. I mean, we still have Johnson noise is the, you can't get quieter preamps than that, physically speaking. And so I just don't think that, especially to what Bandrew said, people already have great stuff, or at least stuff that's getting them by. And so it's like, if you want to push someone to pull the trigger and make that call and make a purchase, you really have to give a good value proposition over what they have right now. And, nobody's still using, Fostex 4-track recorders anymore. Like, people are using good stuff.
I love this. I can't walk down the street showing off my microphone bling to the masses like I can my iPhone. There's no dodgy trench coat wearing shady dealers going, "Hey, want to buy a mic?" Yeah, I do love that. This is interesting. I love this from Bandrew. We're just reverting to the level of pre-2020 numbers on YouTube for audio people, but there are also now like 500 people covering every release. Yeah, and I find that there's a lot of crossover with gaming, podcasting, music, and it all kind of is. And I've noticed this on this channel, even like I put out stuff that's music based and people are like, nah. I put out stuff that's podcast based, is a little better. Gaming stuff, gamers are just evil, man. You say one wrong thing about their product and they're gonna lynch you. They hate you. It's been ridiculous. But not a lot of people doing all of it, right? Everyone's kind of staying to their corner, and I do find that interesting. That wasn't the fact a couple years back. Everyone was kind of jumping in on everything, but I do feel like people are starting to divide off, and probably because of the numbers on YouTube not shrinking, but not growing. Like I'm not seeing a shrink in my numbers. I'm just not seeing growth. And again, it's not a big deal. I've got a second channel that's going to be getting lots of love over the next year. That's doing different stuff and storytelling. But by the way, I noticed a lot of people from here jumped on that and subscribed. I do have content coming out, and I'm hoping over the next couple months, now that I've seen how well I can work, and I've got a few processes down from this summer, I think I'm going to be able to start pumping out product for that weekly.
Nice.
Maybe. Action Podcast. I'm tempted to do a comparison video between my Vocaster and the Lewitt when it arrives, but equally I'm a complete noob, so maybe not. No, man, you give her. Yeah, that's how you start, buddy. That's if you want to do audio reviews, that's how you start, man. You learn by doing it. In a lot of ways, reviewing audio gear is not simple, but at the same time, learning what people want to see, and you never know. You could have a video where people are like, yeah, I always wanted to know the difference between the Vocaster and the Lewitt Connect 2. So you never know, man. Try it out. Picked up an Elgato Wave XLR years ago. It drove me crazy with Teams auto controlling my gain. You know what? My problem with the Wave XLR, and I think it's probably the problem with the Stream Deck Plus setup, is the latency on it is ridiculous. Everyone complains about the latency on the Rodecaster series. The latency on this is dog shit. At one point, so latency for me is, even with the Connect 6, I can hear a little bit of latency. But when the latency starts repeating your voice so much further in front of you, where you're slowing down while you talk, that's what I'm running into with the Elgato. And at first I was like, well, maybe it's the Mac. And I contacted Elgato, and they're like, yeah. So the Macs, the Mac drivers aren't they're just what do they call them? They're in production still, so they're not fully fleshed out. So try it on PC, same shit. My son used this, who's like uber gamer, hooked this up when he was watching her house, and it blue screened his computer 4 times in 5 days. Nice. So like even when like you've got a 23-year-old nerd that loves to game is saying that's dog crap, yeah, that's a bit of a problem. So I think it might just be the fact that the Stream Deck and the Wave XLR aren't working together properly. I'm not sure. Dimebag Silver Rock and the Revelator IO24. Can't find anything better for me so far, and I look at everything. You know what? Sometimes you just get what you love and you stick with it.
Yep.
And make a video gamers gonna hate. I love it.
Nice.
I'm gaming community can be, in the words of Pantera, fucking hostile. Yeah, you know what? Gamers are rough. Gamers are very, how do I put this? They're very loyal to their brands. And when you say something about the brand, somebody called me fat earlier this week because I did not like their product that I reviewed, and they loved it and they got mad at me for it. Which isn't a great approach, because you're not going to get much out of me for that.
No.
But yeah, they're pretty harsh, and I still wade through. Like, I've got to say some bad things about the Elgato Stream Deck. I'm sure I'm going to like the Elgato crowd are hardcore, man. So yeah, we'll see.
You're opening the floodgates.
Nick YouTube, are you like part of YouTube, or are you just Nick YouTube? Is that like an appropriate last name? I don't know. Maybe just weird. Your parents were Mr. and Mrs. YouTube. I'm curious. What do you think about the Behringer TM1? I did not review it. I have no idea. I'm not a big fan of Behringer products. Behringer, sorry. What's the TM1 ripping off? You know, that's TM1.
Yeah, look it up.
Oh, that's the NT1 ripoff. No, go buy an NT1. They're cheap. Don't bother. You don't have to be Julian Krause to tell us what your findings are. Here in Dimebag, that's actually really interesting you bring up Julian Krause, because I actually contacted Julian about this, and he said he had the same issues. So part of my complaint on the Stream Deck Plus, isn't the fact that it has latency, because I can complain about a whole number of products that have latency. The problem I have is they say this is near zero latency. And that's a hell of a claim when you're literally a chorused voice in your headset. That's a ballsy claim to make. And I think after the past couple of years of everybody jumping on Rode for having latency on the Rodecaster series, I find it hard to believe that all these people that are doing that are telling me that the Elgato Stream Deck and the Wave XLR are fine. And so when I contacted Julian Krause, I talked to him about his findings. He's super fucking smart, though. Like, he also is super equipped to do the testing. And I don't want to release findings that aren't accurate, because that's unfair to you guys, but it's also unfair to the companies when I'm releasing these numbers, like, oh, this is what my findings were with the Elgato Stream Deck, and it turns out it's not that, and my testing methodology was flawed. So that's why I've held back on this, and I've had it for over a month, because Dylan's coming over tomorrow, and Dylan and I are going to do a whole latency test fiasco where we're going to go through everything. Dylan has a latency test that he's set up on his PC with Pro Tools, and I have the RTL Oblique Audio RTL utility that basically is running a cable out of the input into, or out of the headphones into the input, and then it just plays a tone and it measures it. So we're going to compare those things, and then once I can actually have numbers that I'm relatively confident I can spout in a video, then I will be happy to share those findings. And no, you don't have to be Julian Krause to tell what findings are, but you want to make sure that you're being accurate when you're shitting on a company, because like, it's not fair to shit on a company and get called out for it. And it's actually happened to me where I'm like, this is stupid, and the company like messages me, they're like, actually, you know, this is the reason you're doing it. I'm like, oh, sorry, let me delete that video completely. And it's embarrassing, and it's one of those things that's part of the learning process of doing this stuff. And you know, I've had my hand smacked a couple times. So yeah. Bandrew, to what Dylan said, most content people just don't care about audio. They buy a mic and they use it until it breaks. Creators who care a ton about mics are kind of few and far between. Yeah, it's true. And this is also why you see people like almost lining up to defend products to their death. And it's like, why are you defending?
Well, and they're the defense is, well, it works.
Yeah,
sure. I mean, you know, again, I'm coming at it from the perspective of,
yeah, but that makes a shitty review. Not to cut you off, but if I'm just gonna finish everything off with, well, it works.
Yeah. Well, honestly, people are more concerned about getting something functional on the cheap than they are about like artisanal quality. Right? Like these people, these are a lot of the people, and again, it's not throwing shit at this is a whole vertical of people that this describes. And you know, the people that look at people that buy a U87 AI for $4,000 like they're idiots. It's like, why would you, like, you could get a microphone for $50. Why would you waste $4,000 on a microphone? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you know, we're sitting here going, well, it sounds good. It's useful for things that make them sound good. You know.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of the artisanal versus the, hey, I'm a business. I need to do content to make money, and I need to do that cheaply.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, there's always a grade with that kind of stuff. SR375, what's up with Dylan's YouTube channel? I think we said it's coming in the fall.
Coming in the fall, yeah.
So it's still on track for its release date. So it's on
the radar. Yeah, it's on the radar. Yeah.
And Dylan and I are going to do a kind of a combo release on that. So you'll know when I release a video, because in that video it will tell you to go to Dylan's channel. Liberty Dude, I think there's an expectation gap too with all the releases of budget and super budget gear with more effective results. People have a false expectation that everything should be super low costs. Yeah, and you know what I mean? Fuck, should I? Okay, so I had things that do you actually share this stuff? Because I've had I've had a few people like, oh, here's a good one. Too long didn't read. He gets so close to the microphone, his lips are infused with the pop filter, causing distortion. He also shakes the microphone stand erratically. Is it erratically? That's not a word. To stimulate an earthquake, which microphone picks up. That's a guy talking about the Maono PD100X. Because he was mad because my findings when I got close to the microphone like this and I talked into it and it was super distorted. Well, that's not a real world use.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it
Shut
is. But
Shut
you
up.
can't tell people stuff like that because people don't want to hear that kind of stuff. They just want their bias to be completely approved. They want all their biases to be approved by some stranger on the internet. This is another one. Same kind of this was 2 days ago. Firstly, 347, no one speaks so close to the mic to the point of almost kissing it. Secondly, nobody shakes a mic like that while they're speaking into it. Obviously, it's going to pick up the rattling noises. Duh. And this is what you're up against when you do this kind of stuff, right? Is in those are the here, guys, 1 second. Hi, love. I'm in the middle of a live stream. That's okay. Do you want to say hi to everyone?
How many people like crank their volume to hear? Oh,
I love you too, Bug.
to hear what you're saying.
Oh, could you hear what she was saying?
No, I was gonna say how many people have cranked their volume right now to try to hear what he's saying.
Oh, nothing major. So but those expectation gaps are like, there's still like a basic fundamental standard that this gear has to meet. And whether you like it or not, if a piece of gear doesn't meet that standard, it's not a piece of gear you should buy. Whether you like it or not. My dog's whining in the background. Moving to Fine SC3. I love not having to use extra software. Yeah, you know what? It also comes down to use whatever the hell you want.
And again, if the mic is functional, like what is the purpose of a mic? To accurately capture, sound pressure changes and faithfully convert them into electrical signals. How if you get a shitload of distortion during a normal use application, it's not doing its job. So, at the very least, I think you should not spend less than, you should not spend so little money on a product to the point where it doesn't even do its job anymore.
Yeah. Because what we used to do back in the day was save up our money, and we didn't need to buy something immediately and satisfy that urge. And here's a great, like Dimebag, perfect point. Sorry, I just
speaking of distorting mics.
This Rode NTG3 is it's good. Kind of interesting point. If I spent on my interface what my phone is supposedly worth, I'd have a Rodecaster Pro 2 full fat version. Yeah, you would. If you actually spent money on your audio gear. The problem is most people can't hear differences because they don't have trained ears for certain frequencies or for things. They just want certain things to do things, and they want to sound like their favorite streamer. And this little thing that I bought that was only $59 sounds good enough, and it makes me sound like my streamer, and they don't want to hear anything different. It's like, well, if you actually saved up your money, or you just like spent your money in a way that made sense on audio gear, you would find that you have a different experience with the stuff. And like Behringer game, but if you're on a budget, and everybody keeps saying, but if you're on a budget, well, if you're on a budget before, you just saved up. You didn't need to like buy something this week. You'd put an extra $100 in the bank on the day you got paid. So like I struggle with a lot of it, but at the same time, I also believe that then there's some people that can't save money. There's some people that are just dirt poor.
I think right now there's a lot of people either not getting paid enough, chalked into way too many expenses, or a mixture of both of those things.
Yeah.
And so, there's a lot of living paycheck to paycheck. The average thing said like 2/3 of the people in the middle class, which are people that make over $100,000 a year, which is a lot of money, like individuals. We're not talking joint household income. We're talking as an individual, are still living paycheck to paycheck at like 110 grand a year. That's crazy.
I I love Bandrew. They're not crazy like us. We'll listen to hundreds of samples of different mics on different sources.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like the amount of
Well,
time.
no, and I think it's funny. I was just thinking this too, and Bandrew just touched on it. But like, you know, we're coming at this from like as enthusiasts, right? We want the highest quality product possible. There's a lot of people, in fact, most people in this field that are literally just looking for something functional. Is it going to be the most artisanal grade cheese you've ever eaten? No, it's not. You know, it but
that's
it
why
works.
one of the most recommended mics on this channel is the SM58. Like that's why, right? Like just because, and this, I will state this time and time again. And this is like Dimebag saying Behringer can be a gateway drug. It's true. But you can get started getting really good audio with a Scarlett Solo and an SM58. Like that's under $300 US. Under $300 US. And you have something that you could do voiceover with. Now, SM58 voiceover isn't going to blow your mind, but it also isn't going to be complete. Like, dude, you did voiceover under a blanket in your bedroom with a wireless microphone. Like, it's plausible.
Like, yeah, like a $300 wireless microphone at that.
That's fair.
Well, but still, like I had, you know, one of my coworkers compared it to a product that existed years ago, similar idea, kind of a wireless mic for Newsies. This sounded better though than that, and that was like $1,200.
Yeah,
this little $300 job for something that's such a multi-use thing. Like Jesus, you could use that to record. Like if you didn't have a good interface, but you had maybe a good headphone port and you needed to record vocals, there's easy ways you could synchronize and just record into the Interview Pro.
The lack of the proximity effect means no boxiness in
boxiness. Yep.
In your bed sheets, which like a lot of people don't think of. And it's like, well, that's not a good capsule. Actually, it works out great in a lot of situations.
Yeah, the fact that it's Omni definitely comes in handy, especially when you're in suboptimal spaces. Yeah, again, all the logic points to the other way. That doesn't make any sense. It's the opposite. It's like, no, cardioid mics are really good when there's a sound, like, for example, a speaker monitor in a particular place that you need to cancel out. That's where cardioid mics come in really handy. You know, if you're in a not so good, I wouldn't say a cardioid or an omnidirectional condenser mic less useful. Less useful. I think the fact it's a dynamic mic also plays a factor. It's lack of sensitivity, which is kind of nice.
This is interesting, Nick YouTube. I'm not saying I'm poor, but I don't want to spend more money for a mic. I'm talking about a starter point. I look for used gear, but in my country, there's not much options for a good mic. Yeah, we're speaking from a very North American perspective, to be fair, Nick.
Yeah, finding stuff in these parts is thankfully pretty easy. And we're also, we're two people, as several people are on this channel, that are well along into our audio journey. And so,
but that's also why I do reviews. It's not a mark against a product if it doesn't meet a standard. For me, if you want to go and buy a Maono mic,
but no, like there's a, and I'm fussy because there's very specific features that I look for in an interface. I remember on a stream years ago, we had a little game where we tried to figure out, based on a bunch of stuff that I was saying, we tried to figure out what interface would fill keeps coming in and out. What interface would fill all these requirements? And, we went through the entire Focusrite lineup. And I think finally we found, like a $2,300 job that did everything that I wanted it to do. And he's back for the third time.
There's something happening with my scroll. It's literally my scroll that's doing it. It's reading my scroll as a back button, which I've never seen. So like when it comes to used gear, there's not much options for a good mic. An SM58, man, almost universal for cost, almost universal. And I understand it depends. I've had people from the Philippines reach out to me. Well, what should I buy here? I don't know. But the SM58 is one of those microphones that really doesn't go anywhere in price, no matter where around the world you are. It's not much cheaper used. And I know I got a lot of heat for that that short video that I did, because people are like, oh, it's only $6 off. Yeah, but there's the thing, right? You go on Facebook Marketplace or whatever used forum you use in your city and you look for an SM58, and guess what? They're all like 90% of the new cost. And even the ones that are the shit beat out of them, like they look like they've been run over by a tractor trailer, are still 90% of the cost of their original value. And they're still being bought. Like they're gone in a day, because musicians are like, give me the fucking mic. Like,
honestly,
all the SM58s.
I would say if you have like in terms of resale value as an investment, if you have a 58, even if the barrel is knocked up a little bit, if you just spend a little bit of money, get a new screen, like a new pop filter sphere for it, you can charge like $110. You can charge basically like 95% the price. And you market it as, hey, this is a brand new head, and they'll be like, okay, nice, sweet. Okay. Other than that, they're a really good investment from that standpoint. A lot of these like USB mics, for example, not quite the same amount of resale value.
Okay, I gotta say, you guys have been like blowing us out of the water with comments. I appreciate you guys kind of reaching out. Sorry if I can't get to your comments. I'm trying to scroll through here and everything, but it's really hard, and it's hard to kind of keep up with all this. But Bandrew, cardioid mics are useful for most content creators over Omni. We record in spare bedrooms, which sound bad, so that rejection from the pattern is helpful. It's fascinating.
Yeah. Well, all the mics around me right now are cardioid mics. It's just when you start getting out of recording indoors in a room, especially an untreated room, like when you're out and about, and also you're recording sound sources that are really inconsistent. Like if you have a cardioid mic or like a figure 8 mic, it's even worse. But if you have a cardioid mic and you move in and out while you're talking or whatever, your proximity effect coming up and down is going to be a real pain in the ass. And also, again, your proximity to a boundary. Aiden was talking about that earlier. Like I can't imagine using. In fact, I should do a fun little thing where I take the Neumann on Omni, and I put it in the Isovox, and then I take the Neumann, or I take the SM7B and stick it in the Isovox, and just see. Well, I mean, that's not really a fair fight because the SM7. I actually just even recording with the Neumann, in Omni and then in Cardio, not even the same mic, and there will be substantially more bass pronounced.
Well, but then that same argument is like, well, it's content creators in their small bedrooms, but then you see them also wearing like the Wireless Pro or the Wireless Go 2, and it's like, well, those are Omni mics, guys.
Honestly, I think too another factor here is AI. AI repair tools being built into Adobe now, AI repair tools being involved in products like Descript. These tools allow us, and I find there's a lot more leaning on these tools to fix your audio. Like I'll get somebody recording a VO on their iPhone mic and it'll be like, run this through AI and make it sound good. I'll be like, okay. And so, I feel like that again kind of hurts if there was ever a need for like a specific mic or a good mic, like, you can, if you need to, you can make audio in a really suboptimal circumstance. You can make it sound good.
Yeah. This is fascinating. So Action Podcast says, next purchase, I want some decent headphones. Dimebag says, I just got some replacement earpads. Action, I will tell you this once, spend good money on your headphones and just replace the headband and the earpads when you need it. Spend the decent money on headphones. It is so worth it. And usually any headphones over the $100 mark have replaceable earpads. So worth it. I've used Adobe AI to fix crap recordings. Yeah, even the podcaster that I work with, Tyler with Minds of Madness, he uses AI to clean up all of his studio audio, and he has a really expensive studio. If you watch the video, like a really expensive, professionally built outdoor studio. And he still uses AI to fix stuff up, like mouth noises, maybe something a bird chirping got through. Still uses it, man. It's scary what that stuff can do. It's 6:05. I've actually got to go eat at some point. I love y'all guys. I really appreciate all the love we got here and all the conversation. I really do appreciate. Even though I've been kind of jumping in and out here like a psychopath. yeah, the live streams should be back weekly from here on out. I don't foresee any issues for the next little while because everything should be returning to normal. I'm going out to a cottage for a couple days to try to unwind. I've got to write some product though. But yeah, I'm going to try to unwind for a couple days and then coming back at this. The second channel is going to have a flood of new content coming out over the next couple weeks as well. So stay tuned for that. And I love y'all. I appreciate the summer stress this year. So have yourself a great week, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Next time.
Cheers.